Let's move on now to the Kansas City Chiefs in our 2023 NFL Draft review. But before we get into that, if you have not already, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and ring the bell to get notified when we create new Chiefs content. Ryan and I, we have a goal of getting to 2,000 subscribers by the start of the 2023 NFL season. It's the easiest way to help us reach our goal. It's also the easiest way for you to get notified when new Chiefs content is made. And Ryan, with that being said, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
So I am looking currently at the Kansas City Chiefs depth chart, and every name in blue was on the roster last year or signed a free agency. Every name in green are new draftees. There are no green names in the player one spot. So that is, I think, a good indication on really kind of how few needs I think this team needed. Like they had needs where they can improve, but they are still the best team in the NFL. You know, it's that offense is still kicking, and the defense, I think they only improved with some of these pieces, and I think that they added some depth as well. And it was a good draft for the Chiefs, in my opinion.
No, yeah, I thought it was pretty good. They started off night one. They drafted a slightly polarizing edge rusher in Felix Anudike Uzoma. Some people had him going in the middle of the third round or middle of the second round. Sorry, not third. And then some people felt that he was a surefire first round pick. So definitely, I think that's a really solid pick. They did lose a couple edge rushers in Frank Clark and then who's the other one? Carlos Dunlap.
Yeah.
In those guys. So definitely replacing those with some younger blood. They also signed Charles Omenihu, I believe, in free agency. And then drafted George Karlaftis last year. So that'll be interesting to see that edge rushing rotation there. But I like Felix. He has really good bend. He's still fairly raw with his hands, but I think that's a really solid pick there at 31.
Well, and I think and basically even what you said there, I think that is like the epitome of what this draft was about. Is even someone like Will McDonald, who was taken 15th overall. I could have also seen him taken here. Could have also seen him falling into the middle of the second round as well. There's a lot of these guys that you could see the potential, but there's definitely a lot of questions. And so like getting him here, I think is fair. But if he also would have fallen a little bit, Chiefs would have gotten him with their second pick. I also think that would have been fair as well, just because it is that range. But I think he can bring a lot. He's definitely at minimum going to be adding good depth. Karlaftis was good last year. Charles Omenihu was a good addition. Chris Jones obviously is one of the best defensive tackles in the league. So in general, I think it's just good depth at minimum, which is kind of what a team like the Chiefs is looking for. Same with the next pick, Rashee Rice. The Chiefs definitely have everything evolves around Travis Kelce. So they almost have like a receiver by committee type feel when it comes to their receiver room. And I think I'm very curious kind of on what they're going to be able to produce next year. Because I'm sure they are going to be able to do just because of how good Patrick Mahomes is, how good Andy Reid is at calling out that offense. But even then, if you look at guys like Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney, even MVS, all guys that are shifty and can improvise very well. I think Rashee Rice, and correct, you're more the receiver expert, but I think Rashee Rice can maybe also do that a little bit, but he also, I think, is kind of the more consistent. He's going to be a little bit more the consistent X runner, so to say, the X receiver.
Yeah. So personally, I wasn't a big fan of Rashee Rice. He played at a lower level of competition, and then there were some questions about his game, and he didn't really perform super well at the Senior Bowl. He wasn't as big as I thought he would be as compared to some of the other receivers and corners that were there, but I don't know. He has a really solid first step, and then he just kind of like stops running his route. So I don't know if he just lacks like a top end gear, or if he just likes to be physical with corners and play that way. So I thought this was a bit of a reach. I had kind of felt that Rashee Rice had worked his way down into like a early day 3, and to take him here in the late middle second, I think was a bit of a reach.
Yeah.
With that being said, I think him going to the Chiefs is probably the perfect place for him because he's going to be able to be assigned matchups or be able to get put into matchups that are going to be favorable to his skill set. And he also is going to have Patrick Mahomes throwing in the ball. So he's going to be better than statistically than what he actually is.
Yeah. Well,
So
and it's one of those things too, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like a lot of times I'd be curious to see how many times the Chiefs went up against man last year versus zone. I feel like I feel like you almost can't do man against the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes' skill set. So you almost didn't have to just plant defenders there, like insert zone and contain a lot, and then make sure all the receivers stay in front of them. And I think
mhm.
one thing Rashi Rice, I think he is able to kind of pick apart zone defenses decently well. That's at least what I would like was able to decipher from what I saw from him at least. So
Yeah, well,
with that being said, if that is what they go up against, I think then that's going to be a good fit for that offensive system.
yeah. I mean, I don't think that they saw tremendous amounts of less man coverage than the rest of the league. The league is shifting more towards a zone heavy style
Yeah.
system. However, when you play these elite quarterbacks, it's kind of hard to play zone because they just carve you up. Like just because they are so good at hitting receivers in the pockets
Yeah.
where there's no defense. And so I think that is going to be a really interesting thing to kind of look out for. But I think Rashi Rice he's gonna provide them with another weapon. I think he is a different type of receiver than what they have. He's more like the Juju Smith-Schuster that they lost and didn't really replace. So
Yeah.
I think that'll be really interesting. Actually, so probably my favorite pick from this entire class is Wanya Morris, the offensive tackle from Oklahoma. He's a true
Mhm.
right tackle. That's all he played when he was in college, and he's gonna start and play right tackle for them from day one in
Yeah.
2023. I think that's a fantastic pick. I think he's already better than Andrew Wiley. And
Yeah.
I love that pick. That's a really solid pick.
Well, he is super athletic.
Yeah.
He is still a little raw, but like he is extremely athletic. He can absolutely with a little bit of work, and they even talked about that too when they picked him. I forgot what their offensive line coach is, but they've done that with all their offensive linemen, so they're able to produce these stalwarts, so to say, who
Yeah.
are super athletic but just need a little bit more refining. And I would not be surprised if he does get the starting job at the beginning of the year or by the end of the year he is starting. But I'm confident by year 2 he will be the starting right tackle.
Oh yeah. No, I
Mhm.
think he's a starting right tackle right now. I think he's the best right tackle that they have on their roster.
Yeah.
So I really like that pick. The Chamari Connor pick, I wasn't a huge fan of. That was right around, I guess, where he was supposed to go. And then BJ Thompson, Keandre Coburn, and Nick Jones, I think, are all pretty good value. Keandre Coburn is like a huge run stuffing nose tackle.
That's what I was. Yeah.
And I actually kind of like that. Especially you get Felix, who's can kind of play that edge rusher, outside linebacker type role and can
Yeah.
stand up or play kind of 3 down. I like that, giving your defense a little bit more flexibility there. So
Well, I also think too, if you look at their division, is Raiders obviously Josh Jacobs' career year last year, so you want to be able to stop that. The Chargers do have Austin Eckler, and they can run the ball between tackles a little bit. He's a little side edge, but still, you just want to just even. And you can say the same thing about the Broncos as well. Is not horrible running teams, but not phenomenal running teams. So you just want to try and eliminate any option, like make
yeah,
those guys have to throw the ball, and so then they become a little bit easier to defend. And a guy like Coburn, where you can just
just
stick that big boy right in the middle and be
yeah.
like, you are going to have to run elsewhere. You're going to have to do something else because you're not getting by this guy. I think that that is a good addition to also for the matchups of what they have in their division.
No, yeah, I really like that pick a lot. And then Nick Jones was a standout at the Shrine Bowl, and
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Ball State is in Indiana, so I love seeing those guys go. But all in all, I think this was a really solid draft from the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's get into our grades here. We do differ a little bit. So I have this draft as a B minus. You have it as just a flat B. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I will just say, so I would have this as a flat B if I liked Rashi Rice a little bit more. I wasn't super high on Rashi Rice coming out, and I feel like I kind of have to stick true to my board
Yeah.
and uh, go get just knock them a slight bit for that Rashi Rice pick.
Yeah. And that's fair. I mean, I probably look at it a little bit differently. As like maybe I don't disagree with you with Rashi Rice, even though I think maybe I'm a little bit higher on him as well. This is the same thing when we talked about Washington in our grades. Like our grades there were greatly differed, but
Yeah.
it's because neither one of us like Emmanuel Forbes, and I think I maybe give the benefit of the doubt, obviously, to the NFL scout
Well,
who then they also understand the scheming system of everything that they're looking for. I think it does address a need. He's going to be able to come in. He's gonna get reps with the first team. And sorry, I don't know why I couldn't think of that, but he's gonna get reps with the first team. He'll probably slowly filter his way in, see what they have. But I wouldn't be surprised by the end of the year though if he is getting a lot of first team reps as a rookie. And I think they can move him around the line. But then also to for the rest of my grade in general, for being the last pick in or close to the last pick in every single round. I think they got decent value with
yeah, I
all of
did
them.
too.
They're like could absolutely see all these picks not working out just because of where they're picked. A lot of guys that get picked at the end of the first round don't work out, and same thing second, third, fourth, so on.
Yeah.
So that also kind of plays into it, which isn't entirely the most fair, but these just aren't the best prospects in the draft. So it'll be very interesting to kind of see how they develop because George Karlaftis started to come on a little bit more. If they're able to have the same type of effect on Felix, then that could be a even more powerful defensive line front with obviously with the addition of or with Chris Jones being the leader of that defensive line.
No, yeah. I think this defense, especially last year, the linebackers were playing well. They had a really young secondary, especially going into that playoffs. I think they started 6 rookies in that
Mm-hmm.
on that defense in the Super Bowl. So I like the way that this is going for the Chiefs. The receiving group I don't think matters nearly as much now that Patrick Mahomes he's just playing at such a high level that
Yeah,
he's going to elevate the play of everybody. So uh, I really
yeah,
like
yeah.
what the Chiefs have going on. But let's go ahead and wrap up the Kansas City Chiefs draft recap there. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe and ring that bell so you can get notified when time I create content. And leave a comment down below on what you thought of the Chiefs draft. Do you like Rashi Rice? Do you not like Rashi Rice? Let me know if you think I'm wrong down below, and I will do my best to respond. And other than that, we'll see you guys next time.